All hail the cloud. All right. Hey, guys, this is Alan Venable, president of the Saber Martial Arts Foundation, here again with another fight breakdown, and we have a doozy for you today. We have the Saber Light Knights. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Head of the school, Courtney, is over here. Courtney, tell the good people about yourself as much as you want.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief because, I wish there was more to tell. But yeah, been teaching Sabers for about 5-6-ish years now. And yeah, started up Saber Light Knights a little over 2 years ago. And, every other SMAF school, we do the 7 forms, and we include the breadth of exotic weaponry in there. And yeah, it's a good time.
Right on. Joining him is Ryan with his very cute baby on the screen there. Ryan, tell us about yourself.
Well, I guess I started doing this about a year and a half ago now. One of my friends, Brooks, got me to join Courtney's free class and enjoyed it. I thought I was really bad at it because I'm really bad at basically doing any practice type things, as Courtney knows very, very well. But then he had a tournament at the end of it, and surprise, surprise, I ended up winning it. So after that, I was hooked.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Very
amazing. Cool. Joining us today is the Emperor Penguin himself, Nick Richardson.
Yeah, that's me.
And the crowd goes mild. All right. Joining us. We love you, Nick. Joining us.
I love me too.
What's going on, everyone? Super excited to do a fight commentary for a new group, especially since we were supposed to have a tournament with Saber Light Knights.
Yes.
The last 3 months in a row, we were kind of supposed to do something.
Yeah.
So,
none of us first saw the global pandemic.
Yeah. So, stuff gets in the way, and hopefully by doing this commentary tonight, we'll be able to get some of the barriers out of the way and go a little bit back to normal.
Yeah. Well, I have done Ryan had supplied me with a supercut of 3 different fights. So we're all gonna sit back and watch those 3 fights. We're gonna I've slowed down a couple of the hits. Every time they're, at least what I saw was a point. Some are very apparent, some not so much. So it's one of those things that we'll enjoy watching, hopefully, and kind of create a little bit of a fight commentary on, so that we can hopefully get better. And then the other participants of the fight that can't make it here are Clayton, I believe, and Adam. And hopefully when they watch this, they'll be like, that's not what I was thinking at all. Or maybe
those are my favorite moments.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to hit play, and we'll have epic music over everything, because that's how we roll.
We do it.
So
that's heavy.
Yeah. So the first fight here is going to be Ryan versus Adam. Ryan, talk us through it, man. What's happening during this fight?
I'm not seeing any video on mine.
Oh. Does everybody else not see video?
I see the video.
I have it here.
Are you Are you on the window itself of what is it called? Zoom?
I guess I can see Nick talking.
Oh. Well, because you have to be in the actual Zoom window to see it.
Yeah. There is a fight going on right now.
So while Ryan figures that out, I can assist a little bit here. So Ryan came in during Saberlight's second year, as did Adam. And during that time, I was actually teaching a Makashi course. That was what that season was about, was Makashi. So Ryan specifically took, very easily to our Makashi. There's your beautiful face. I see you now. There he is.
I got that part, but I'm still not seeing the video.
So you'll see a lot of Makashi coming from Ryan and a little bit from Adam as well.
Just for reference, one person's wearing like lighter colored shorts. Who's in the lighter colored shorts?
Adam is in the red fencing mask, and Ryan is in the all black.
Okay.
Touch on the wrist there.
Yep.
So, in our version of Makashi here at Saberlight, it is based heavily off of the Chinese straight sword, and there's also a bit of Italian rapier in there. And one of the characteristics that we emphasize in Makashi is the idea of counterattacks.
Nice.
And between different styles, different groups, what have you, counterattacks can mean different things. But when I say counterattack, I mean if an attack is already on its way to you, stop it with your own. So you'll see quite a bit of that with our version of with our Makashi. You see Ryan here, trying to cut off Adam's overhead strike. That's a pretty big characteristic of our version of Makashi.
So would you say your Makashi overall is a more aggressive nature?
I would say that, but then you can also depend on who it is that's using it. Ryan is aggressive by nature, so it will come across more aggressively. But, Makashi is called the contention form, right? So it's contentious. So if you're going to strike me, I'm going to strike you, and I'm going to strike you better than you. You're going to strike me.
Right. So,
I'm going to beat you at your own game, and I'm going to do it.
And look good doing it.
And look good doing it.
Very important in Makashi. Very important. I like the counterattacking aspect because for us, and I know like this is a lot of people, Makashi leads very naturally into both Form 4 and Gem So of Form 5.
Yes.
For us. So, like that counterattacking, especially in Form 5, is very, very important for us. Especially when you compare it with like blade manipulation, which I know you mentioned Italian rapier. That's like something that is very prominent in rapier styles.
Speaking of wonderful counterattack, that was really good.
Adam, it's very,
I was just gonna say
very pretty. He just go fast.
Yeah. Ooh, right underneath. That's good. So, Chinese straight sword. How long have you been? Did you study that, and what made you make that the costume analog?
Yeah. So I began Chinese martial arts.
Very nice.
A decade and a half-ish ago, and when I concocted our version of the 7 forms of our Saber martial arts, I pulled from my own pool of knowledge. I am a believer of pulling from what you know and not what you watch.
Okay.
So because of that, that's where Makashi had materialized, and a lot of the blade manipulation and the thrusting, stabbing motions of the Jen, I felt fit perfectly for Makashi.
Yeah.
I'm in total agreement with you. I just wanted your words to it.
Sure.
Gosh, same. It's based on Chinese straight sword, and then the footwork of traditional fencing, European fencing. I don't know the difference. If you put a gun in my head, I don't know the difference between French fencing and Italian.
Well, and then there's Spanish too, right? Which is like
I think it's
slightly nuanced as well.
The insults being thrown are different. I think that's the difference between the fencing styles. I mean, depending on the weapon, like of course the Spanish espada is very different than a foil, very different than a
right, exactly.
A rapier or a bay. That's all mixed stuff.
Look at that lunge.
Ooh, look at that
lunge.
Ryan,
yes. Oh, that was beautiful.
You chased him off the screen.
Well, it was in slow motion, which as soon as I saw the tip of the blade start moving and then that blade went in such a straight line, man, you can't get better than that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Do you, when you guys do this, do you guys have the hilt as a target zone?
So we were basically doing TSL rules on this one.
Okay.
Because at that point we were preparing for TSL 5, I believe.
Oh, sure.
Before it got canceled. So you notice we have Subas on both. I think actually we're both your in-house Slayers and video.
Okay.
So we're going for both Adam and I are shorter. I think we're both exactly 5'7". And when you're fighting those 6'5" guys, the only way to beat them the wrist or the back of the hand. So that is.
Alan, he's singing our song, man.
I mean,
the song of the hobbits.
Right. It's an interesting thing fighting. I love fighting bigger people.
Yeah, me too.
That right there, that was me. That was straight Adam. So that's what he does to me all the time, and I finally hit it back.
So actually, while we're on Adam, let's talk a little bit about, even though he's off, no, he's still there. Now it's Clay and Adam. Clay's in the khaki shorts over there, and Adam's got the red mask. So really quickly about Adam. Adam started training with me around the same time Ryan did. I met him because he was a radio DJ host at the time.
Oh, cool.
And he spent a little bit of time learning Wakashi and some time learning Shicho. But the difference with Adam is that he has been training martial arts, also teaching it for a very long time. I can't recall the style, but I believe it's something Chinese or Japanese, something in there. And he is a physical specimen. And he uses his physicality when he fights. So he's jumping up and down, he's leaping, he's flipping, he's jumping everywhere. He's like a jumping point.
Right.
And you'll notice that with a lot of his strikes. He's very physical. With Ryan, for instance, he'll have more finesse since he's more natural with Wakashi. But Adam is far more physical. He adapts it like that in his fighting.
I'm noticing they're going in for the same moves on a couple of these.
Clayton actually has a pretty good martial arts background as well. So he was kendo and ninjutsu.
Oh, nice.
He took to this ring.
You know what I noticed in both fights so far that I appreciate, again, not just being a smaller person, but being a martial artist, is that you guys are using the whole area for your fight. Like the fight's not just happening in the middle or on one side. It's all around the whole sparring ring. So to me, that's really important because, like you said, physicality can really be demonstrated when you allow yourselves enough room to do so.
Yeah.
True. I mean, watching these two fight, I mean, there's a lot of blade work and a lot of hand shots going, but not as a starting action, but as a reaction. So like that.
Was that a hand point there?
Yeah, there's been a couple of them just like as one reaches or lunges that's got from the other person, which is like another black. Yeah.
So Clay is a bit newer in the swing of things. He is primarily trained in Shicho, and as he has recently become an acolyte, which is our intermediate level, he started some training in judo as well. But you'll see him primarily using Shicho and what he's doing.
That was good. This excellent check too. He's like, oh, I got hit right before he even threw the shot. That's good.
The exchanges are very fast, but they're not sloppy, which I'm really digging.
I'm digging the continuous nature of it too.
Yeah.
You get hit, yeah, great. Let's reset. Let's go. It's not,
acknowledge and continue.
Yeah, that's very good for endurance
and for your judging purposes as well, because judging your own fights is tough while you're fighing. But it's
I'm noticing a lot of
that's how you judge other people.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of honor shots too. They're like, oh, you hit me.
Yep, 100%.
We actually got a lot of feedback at Crossroads. Clay and I went in October. They're like, y'all just need to shut up and stop calling hits on yourselves.
Yeah,
how we do it.
Yeah.
I do it almost to a fault in know, like I'm just constantly slapping parts of my body that people hit because I mean, who are you hurting by not calling your shots? Only your own fighting. You know what I mean? You're not hurting your opponent. Your opponent gets the picture.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the you can call it a blessing, you can call it a curse of being a teacher. You're like, no, that was good. You hit me here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew you hit me here, but you hit me here. Good.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, if those were real lightsabers, like, when I get my arm cut off, you'd be like, wow, like, clapping on my stump, like, wow, great job.
Right.
Nailed that technique.
Ooh, right to the face.
Oh, whatever, I have a spare arm.
Right. I can get another one at Joshi Station.
Oh, man.
I have to say, Ryan, the landscape where you guys are fighting is beautiful.
I know, it's perfect.
Yeah, because you can actually see the landscape. Us city boys don't really get that.
Was this
Literally
like,
in my
was this
backyard,
like
I
late
mow
after?
like a almost golf course area that's probably about 20 by 20, and that's where we fight.
Nice.
So, was this like late afternoon, early evening, or?
It's probably about 6 p.m. in the afternoon.
Man, I'd love to see this with just like maybe like another hour and a half of daylight gone, and just those blades like humming in dusk. You know,
Adam's here calling shots.
very cool.
So Ryan, when you're fighting Clayton, what are you looking out for in exchanges against him? What is his openings you're searching for?
What a question from the Emperor.
The one thing that I'm right now, I'm working with Clayton, trying to bring him to take the Dark Lord title in our school. So there's another fighter, Chris, who's very good, and it's going to be an epic fight. Two of them. But Clayton has a tendency to do two things. One of them is talk. The other is to do repetitive movement back and forth. So I've been working out of that, focusing on basically moving back and forth quick action. Because he likes to get in a rhythm. He's a rhythm fighter. And once you reach that rhythm, and Chris is a lot like me, and if you reach that rhythm, it is game over.
So, do you by chance know what he's looking at, like what he's looking for in you? Like, you don't know?
You would have to ask him, to be honest. I know that I've got some things that I do, and that I don't pattern like he does, but I have certain attack routines that I really like. Watch my fights, you see those, and you'll be able to pick those out. So I've been working at varying those up, and then working on my
Okay.
So there is, speaking of which, you'll notice with Ryan, if you haven't already, beautiful lunge. There is a technique in Makashi Shiem, and it's angle 6, where you rise up with the false edge of the blade, like going straight up.
Yep.
And Ryan had took that move and perfected it and has run with it. And the way he does it, it's very hard to see coming, and it's even harder to parry. So keep an eye out for that. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
You know, that is a fun move, and if it is not like practiced, it really turns into like a bad tennis swing instead of what it should be, right? But if you practice a move like that and really nail it in, it turns into like a cobra strike almost. Very difficult to read.
Cobra strike. I like that little run. Yeah, he's rushing. That's good.
Oh, that was nice. Very fast.
Speaking of Shiem.
Yep.
Yep.
Some of the points that don't become points, that where somebody voids the attack, like I'm really just like, wow, that was a nice attack. Not too bad. That didn't.
Looks like you hit him in the hand there. With the tip of the finger.
Unfortunately, that was a pretty good hit right on his thumb. And it's a fucking thing that was still bruised up.
Yeah.
I think the thumb is one of the least comfortable places to get hit.
Yes.
Especially the day after.
Not there's a
Surprise, Bantha.
I have a lot of big dogs.
I was wondering
That's
when
awesome.
would make an appearance.
The strike right before that wildlife interruption. was very pretty. There was a Molinet over the head into the horizontal strike. Was very good. Another good lunge.
They're very, very good as far as distance measured.
Yeah.
They're just
What
the
is it?
pulling
You always
of
like to
hand.
say, knowing how long your sword is.
Yeah, like the just being able to pull your hands back to not get hit instead of having to move your whole body is a skill in itself.
I like that attack just there too. That was good.
And you notice Ryan was transitioning through the guards. He had a little orbit there, keeping his point of his saber right in there on clay. He could easily strike out, land a hit there. He's never really pointing backwards, with Armakashi. You always kind of have it forward, any position there for that attack.
Courtney, how important is wrist isolation in your Makashi?
So when you begin, it's not as important, but as you get to the more advanced levels, that's where the bread and butter comes in, because that's when you get in that blade manipulation with your wrist. I look at it like shoulder, elbow, and then wrist. Right. And then you go from there to there, and then that's where
especially with the one-handed style, it's very like ours is very similar. As you progress, you get more and more into the isolation of one joint versus another. Those one-handed styles, especially, I think, because the two-handed style, you can use your hips and shoulders to do a lot of the work for your hands and elbows.
There it is again.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
very, very sneaky.
And look, I got to give props to Ryan, everyone, but specifically Ryan here, because as he said, there's some slight overlap with Saber Legion, being that I'm the charter rep of Virginia and a lot of other guys participate.
Sure.
So, we'll go back and forth sometimes. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ryan, but in this particular session, you're using Saber Legion standard sizes for the weapons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see Subas and stuff. We're more on the smash side with our standards. But since this is TSL, that's what's being used. So I'm saying that to say,
well, when in Rome,
Yep, these long hilts, these long blades, and he's out here, dueling with one hand, and that after a few minutes isn't very easy, So
yeah, yeah. No, that's important that you bring that up, because you have to practice the way you always practice, but you also have to have times where you practice with the tools that are specific to this one job you need to accomplish, right? And I know that before a light speed tournament, people will go ahead and switch over to featherweight blades. Sometimes they'll shorten their hilts. And then when they go to TSL, obviously the style is a lot heavier across the board. Some people are not that way, but a lot of the time, the fights are just heavy fights. And that includes longer hilts with the Subas, as you're saying. And I think almost everybody in TSL fights with a 36-inch blade or so. Is that not true?
They can.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a lot of weapon for anybody. Especially one hand. Jesus.
So this is a rematch from the first match, right?
Yeah, we just basically rotate through. This is our practice session.
Okay. So for this one, I didn't slow down any of the shots, just to kind of give an idea of how fast you guys are moving and how quick the points could be. So when you're looking at that, even the crossed guard there, that I believe Adams got the red helmet.
Yep.
Yeah. So he just even his different stances that he's pulling off, different window stances. It looks like he's actually doing a couple of HEMA stances, modified stepping from Kendo.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at him, but just switching it up constantly. So that's pretty cool.
And like I had mentioned earlier, he definitely does come from, a good background, decent background. And I want you to really pay attention, how dynamic he is physically. The dude isn't scared to move, and he doesn't get tired when he does.
Right.
And Ryan, cuts the angles, not only with his feet, but more with his blade work to kind of counteract that.
Yep.
Yeah. it's good to be able to fight against different styles as well as fighting in different styles. So so watching this is really, really cool because now you can see, just from the different history that you have, the different educational, I guess, path you take. There is a different. That's where the style comes from. So you can see the difference in Ryan's Makashi, and I'd even say a little bit of Gem So from Adam there.
Right. Yeah. I would definitely agree with that last little bit.
Looked like you guys got confused for a second. That's okay. But yeah, so this is really cool. I want to do more of these. I'm gonna do the same thing I did last time Nick was here. Nick, I need this from your school, please.
Let me tell you, I record so much, and then I watch them, and I'm like, this is trash. We're not doing it.
Yeah, I do.
I'm very self-conscious. I'm very self-conscious about my fighters. I'm not gonna lie.
I do the same thing, but I try not to do it too because, and I know you do this too, but sometimes you post, or I post, or whatever. As a teacher, the proverbial you post a fight of your students or something, and it's very vulnerable as a teacher because you're like, oh, what if somebody thinks I didn't see that mistake that somebody made or didn't address it in class afterwards, right? We've talked about this in Swords and Sabers. What you're seeing when you watch students fight is 5 minutes out of an hour and a half worth of class.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to get the context that went around that one sparring match. But it's totally self-conscious when your student does something that you would not do. You told them not to do that, and they did it on film.
Yeah.
Man, I just shared that. Why did I share that? Right?
Yeah,
but
we do a lot of film review at Penguins. I see one mistake, and then I'll see that mistake over and over the entirety of the film. And every time it happens, I'll just look at them and be like, you fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up. Just constantly, and they hate it. They hate it.
It doesn't even matter that the other person maybe did something good in reaction to the mistake. It's the mistake that stands out so bad, right?
Exactly.
Man, what a bad teacher I must have been that night. It's like, no.
Wow, you did such a good lunge, but your foot lifted up off the ground by a centimeter. You're trash. What are you doing?
But I mean, that's the double-edged sword of film, right? You use it to get better, but at the same time, all you can see is your mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I mean, that's good though. You can, if you see those mistakes, that means you can hopefully not do it the next time you film. So.
And learning
Don't worry,
to
Alan, I'll send some to you eventually, I promise. In
learning
2
to
years.
get over the shame of it and that embarrassment is really important. I know my student made that mistake, or I know I made that mistake on video, depending on what you're recording. And at the same time, just get over the shame of getting hit, because everybody gets hit in this game. That's why we still do it. If we were never getting hit, we would be so bored.
Oh, sure.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, no one's immune from getting hit. You could be the baddest person on the planet. You're gonna get tore up every now and then. You just
that and losing is how you learn.
100%.
True.
That's
the best way to learn.
Right. That's the old Sun Tzu, right? There's 1,000 lessons in losing, but none in victory. I like to say you either win or you learn.
Right, yes.
But yeah, it looks like even after all of this, it looks like there's still a lot of fuel in the gas tank, So yeah.
Especially for Adam.
Definitely for Adam.
Yeah, that's great. All right. And again, calling shots, amazing.
Yep. Oh, got a
some
double
Saber
blade.
staff action.
He's deadly with that thing, Courtney. He beat me twice with that.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I've only
I didn't have my
a little
mic,
bit
but
too. He's really
twice.
taking that and ran with it. Nice.
That is a good design of saber staff. Sometimes you see a saber staff and the hilt is real short and those blades are real stupid long, vice versa. But I think you got a nice even thing going on here.
So my personal preference and the preference that I try to push because of my teaching style and the way that I crafted it is a handle that's a bit longer for more grip space, and then blades to kind of balance that out. And the important thing, the thing that I see a lot, is that when people fight with the Saber staff, they treat it like a standard sword, and it's not that.
Right.
You have a blade on both sides, and you have to make use of them.
Right.
Just not the middle of it.
That one shot right there, Alan, that right there was like the one Achilles heel for sure in a Saber staff, is that middle of the hilt is real vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if you're doing TSL, so we're still fighting TSL here, so they hit that center of that staff, he can use the block.
Yeah, that hurts my soul though. I understand rules. I understand.
Yeah.
So,
Under
as you're fighting, it helps things continue and keep pace.
Yeah. Under Saberlight rules, that thing is definitely a target.
I would be hitting the center of that staff all day.
Yeah.
You're jar-tying it up after that strike.
Yeah.
You know, I like the idea of a longer hilt too. I really do, because then it's more like a staff than it is a light or a sword rather.
That was good. That was a good thing and follow.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was. And what I try to impress upon people that want to take on the Saber staff is to remember that it's primarily an aggressive weapon. You're not going to be like defensive with that thing, because that's when it falls apart. You have to move forward, and you have to constantly strike, because that's where it's best. It's an aggressive style weapon.
Well, you should definitely make sure that you also have anybody with Saber staff know that they have to move their whole body at all times in order to
times.
Because if not, see the blade hit him in the elbow there.
Yeah.
So you gotta be moving at all times if you're gonna treat it like an actual Saber staff.
And you'll notice what Ryan was speaking about earlier, how a rhythm kind of gets sunken into. You can kind of see that coming into effect a little bit. And that's fine. That's like you mentioned earlier, Alan. You go through this kind of stuff. You watch it, figure out what's going on, and then you adapt. That's what it's for.
Yeah, it's timing, right? So as you the more you fight somebody, the more you get their timing.
Exactly.
And that's where the broken rhythm idea comes from, right? Well, we're not dancing to the same song here. We're actually getting better by changing up our rhythm and making sure that we have different ways of attacking. I mean, because there's really only a few ways to actually get the point, right? To actually touch your opponent, but there are a million ways to get to those places.
Yeah,
sure. Bruce Lee, if you want to talk about some broken rhythm as a concept in martial arts, like go back and watch some of those old Bruce Lee videos of him like demonstrating like one attack self-defense techniques or short little sparring sequences. The way that he disrupts people's body or disrupted people's bodies with his strikes and things like that. You're not just talking about broken rhythm at that point. You're talking about like a broken game plan altogether. That person goes into the fight with sort of preconceived. Everybody does what they can do, what their opponent might be capable of, and then you meet somebody like that in combat, where like all of a sudden everything you thought you knew about yourself and everything around you was wrong. And that's like a real talent that you can harness. Is that ability to cause people that type of mental breakdown.
So he was also, he's not the first one to say it, but he was one of the few people that was documented saying it is the fact that you wrestle a boxer and you box a wrestler.
Yeah.
That's what this all is. So when you're dealing with, even a fighting against a Saber staff, there's so much that you have to actually change about your fighting.
Yeah.
I like that little sequence with the staff just there, Alan. Sorry to jump on you there, but man, that was pretty tight where he had that rear offhand guard over the shoulder, used it like a spear. That's the kind of shit I love, man, with the longer weapons. I'm a big fan. I'm a big sucker for a spear. Like, I always have been. So I love when people can use those long weapons the way that they should be used, which is long distance, nice jabbing strikes, and making people feel bad about coming close to you.
Yeah, make them feel bad.
We lost the blade.
Right.
Well, that would be a fun little take on a sword there with a half-length hilt.
Did it break out?
No, it just came out from the set screw.
Yeah. Your attention
So I'll be
screws.
back in just a second.
You know, it's
What
funny. Go ahead.
what kind of double-bladed hilt is that?
Oh, it's a Ultra Saber something.
It's a standard.
An Aeon.
Yeah,
It might be an Aeon.
you'd have to have
Gotcha.
I left all of this in.
It just looks at the camera.
What a good boy.
I love to say because he doesn't really cover the fight at
Oh,
all.
I want to pet him so bad. I want to pet him.
But it looks like Ryan
Killing me.
out of the muzzle.
So here we kind of circle back to what I was talking about earlier on two fronts. So you have Makashi, which is incredibly technical and precise, and then on the other end you have the Saber staff, which I just had commented on, is primarily aggressive.
Right.
So you see Adam, I think he's gassing out a little bit here because he's withdrawing more, but Ryan being technical, picking his shots, you can see Adam scrambling a little bit more because he's trying to use that staff to defend rather than actually use it to attack. You can see the difference there.
Right,
That's what'd you say?
a lot shorter movement from Adam this time around. He got a couple flurries in there. And that's the thing about Saber staff is that it does have to be done with a combination because you have to use combos in order for it to be used effectively. Otherwise, it's just not.
Yep.
Gonna. So,
Well, when you're using a standard staff, it's a big heavy thing. You can gas out just from being correct, just from like fighting well, you can gas out. And if you block and it's a heavy block or something like that, that takes some energy out of you. So you got to learn how to be economical with those stabbing movements. Again, using your range to your advantage. And Saber staff is kind of weird versus a regular staff because a regular staff, the whole weapon is equal in its martial capability, right? But with a Saber staff, like it's not really super long range unless you use it that way. It's kind of shorter range. It's kind of short range, right? Yeah.
which is why you have to do a combo. You have to get the opponent out of the way for you to
overwhelm with motion.
Yeah.
Very good for Ataru, and if your Suresu is based around dodging, then it could be very good for Suresu if you're able to counterattack.
Yeah. And Saber Light, I recommend Saber Staff primarily for Ataru and for Julia.
Yeah,
it fits very well for both of them.
Yeah. You do need a gas tank to do Saber Staff. So
oh, for sure. Yeah.
I only teach that once they've gone through 1 through 5. So it's a Niemann form for us.
You see Adam's
well, you can tell there's some
out
staff
here.
experience here.
Yep.
That combination he opened with, he started with a dope stance, and then he opened with this sick little Mortal Kombat combination. I was like, hold on a second, he's done this before. But to your credit, the Makashi is very, very very, very good at poking the holes in the Swiss cheese. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very good to also see like the different styles, like you watching Clay versus Adam Saberstaff. You know what I mean? Because there is a little bit more reserved quality.
Right.
Versus just the flurry that we just saw from Adam a couple times. I would say this is more of a sort of aggressive version of Saberstaff that we're seeing from Clay. He's waiting for the right moment, trying to just parry and then strike instead of just going all out and in.
And it's funny because Clay is, as far as our leveling and our ranks go, we have a light path, you have a dark path, and within those paths, your road of training will be different. Clay is one of two members that is an acolyte versus an apprentice, and in that level, you have the option to learn the more aggressive stuff, which encompasses Juyo. And one of the things I'm working with Clay on, and Ryan is doing it, because if you didn't know, Ryan and Clay are brothers. They're working on breaking him out of the rhythm and getting him to be a bit more aggressive. As that would probably suit him or at least provide more of a balance between the two.
Sure. That's awesome. So, is it because you guys haven't you guys didn't want to do Saberstaff versus Saberstaff, or is it because we only had one Saberstaff at the time?
I don't know Saberstaff, so outside of what I've learned all of my training is lacrosse. So I'm very good at basically using both my hands. You'll see when I'm fighting with I will switch hands back and forth constantly. What I'm doing. It's also related to the posture, like dabbing cuts. What I've been doing. And when I'm not fighting with this, I'm fighting with Mike. That's the CrossFit. So that's kind of where I'm going at everything on this, where he actually had martial arts. With a staff. He knows what he's doing, but that and Mike not.
Don't sell yourself short.
It's
It's experience that creates, confidence.
Correct. And no martial arts teacher can teach you how to fight in your style. That's all up to you. That's 100% of the work you put in. They can only teach you how to fight in their own style, which is not what you're going to produce. So, it's very, like Alan said, I really like how you said, don't sell yourself short. That's something I have to tell myself too, as both a fighter and a teacher. My style is not going to be my student's style. I have to accept that as a teacher, but also embrace it for their sake, because what they come up with might be really awesome for them, that I would have never been able to come up with based on my own style, right? So, I can teach them how to punch or how to kick or how to thrust or how to slice or chop, but it's not going to come out the same way from their body versus my body. And that's what makes this as cool as it is, because somebody sees somebody do something, they're not going to produce it the same way, but they can mimic it and create their own version of some shit that's now new to them.
Right.
I don't know. I'm starting to go all across the spider web of creativity here, but that's what makes this stuff beautiful. I mean, we all say we practice 7 forms. Well, what does that mean? You couldn't teach a class in my Shicho, but I couldn't teach a class in your Shicho, but actually we could probably both teach a class in each other's Shicho if we really needed to. Right. Because within all of that room for creativity and personality, there are still these fundamentals that we all seem to have been able to figure out.
Right, and that's the beauty of it, right? Basics are basics are basics are basics.
Right.
And any advanced is just a combination of a couple of basic things.
Yeah.
So, as we watch this too, you're kind of looking at, okay, well, how can I establish my form or my ability with this new weapon or this new way of moving? And like Courtney said, you kind of have to find a balance. You have to kind of figure out, okay, this might not be the easiest for me, but maybe it's the best for me.
Yeah.
I can think outside the box, or I can move slightly differently. I can move at a different angle that I usually don't. That was a freeze frame right there, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching this is really cool. It makes me really jealous that I don't have a field that I can do that.
Yeah.
Virginia life, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a thing to be said about everywhere you live. It's wonderful, like 9 months out of the year, and there's
Yeah.
where you are. So,
Well, we got another match going on in the back there.
right. So yeah, man. So watching all this stuff, Ryan, since you've lived this and you've watched it with us, is there anything that you see that you want to work on, or anything that's kind of a revelation for you?
Not a revelation per se. Courtney will tell you I record almost every match that I find and watch it on my so I watch it constantly. I like having the play of y'all because I can judge myself all day long and that's fine. Yeah. But you guys bring good effect.
Right. Well, that's the thing. What we want to do with these fight breakdowns is kind of have the fighters here so that you can, number one, hear what they were thinking when they were in the middle of the fight, and also, you know, hey, you know, that might be something you didn't see or think about during the time. I mean, you fight these guys a lot, I assume.
We pretty much do this the three of us get together every other week right now. There's Adam and then I'm working the farm. Of course, plays my brother or my son when I'm stuck to work. So we kind of got our own little family tied together during this whole thing.
Amazing.
And then Clayton and I fight every week, except he hurt his back. I think he did easy right now.
Oh, I see. Well, this is it's kind of neat to see, like, as you guys go through your fights and stuff. Like, how long are your usual? How long do you actually train or spar?
For about an hour and a half while we're doing this out.
Okay, an hour and a half. That's good. Do you guys do any stretching or cool down or anything on the
Stretch beforehand, but we don't do any cool down. Our cool down is we go inside and we have some beer.
I mean, hey, that's a good cool down. You know, everybody has their thing. So like when we started doing this, I don't even know how many years ago. That was the one thing that kind of separates I want to say the martial artists from the fighters, from the people that are just there. You know, people that are just there will just show up and just try to fight. And the martial artists have this regimen, you know, to make sure that they don't get hurt. They make sure that their knees are good, you know, the back is good, the neck's good, all right, and then they'll go, and then they'll kind of just, they'll actually go and do a little cool down at the end, or whatever it might be, wherever it might be, just like taking off the armor and just dropping it in order to just touch your toes, or just to sit for a second just to catch your breath.
Yeah.
And then you see like the fighters who are there, and they're just there to brain somebody. You know? And again, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have consent.
Right.
So, and people are very, very akin to classify themselves in that. But in the end, it's that moment when the blade hits, right? That's the moment you live for, which is really cool when you're in the fight. So watching you guys do this is kind of really, really neat. Kind of once again revitalizes, you know, some ideas of different types of training and stuff that we can all do in all our sports.
Just the outdoor training alone, I mean, that's been huge for us at our martial arts program, especially with the pandemic and everything, because
the helmet fell off.
the restrictions for training inside are just outrageous.
Yeah.
So, like, we have a park right near the karate studio, or honestly, like, we have tons of parts all over the place, lightsabers, whatever. But like tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m., I teach an hour-long karate class, then I teach a half-hour sword class, just out in a soccer field. Why?
Sure.
Because we can stand 13 feet apart and we look like an old kung fu movie, like back in the day when they're all practicing kata out in the fucking yard.
Right.
And it's fun and it's good for you, and it's been a huge revelation for us because we always kind of did outdoor training, but it's a little bit tough when you like take people down and you got to take them down on the grass and the asphalt, right? That's no fun. And you know, when you're jumping and stuff like that, you got to wear sneakers. Not as fun as barefoot. Point being,
So
it's
Adam's
huge for us to come to like a new way of training outdoors.
So we're playing with a purple trip here.
Yeah. Oh boy.
They tried that on me in the next match.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely reaction.
Yeah, we don't really do much of that.
Why is that, Courtney? Why is that?
Because it is my humble opinion. You are handicapping yourself. In close quarters with a shorter weapon. You know, with a shorter weapon, it might work better, but
It's a fact.
yeah. My opinion.
But Star Killer uses it.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing there that I from you.
That was epic.
Fantastic.
I'm just gonna play in the background here, but this was great, guys. I mean, the more we do stuff like this, the more we can all learn from it and from kind of create a little bit more community as far as like, hey, you know what? I want to fight that. I like
Yeah.
I don't fight everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He really does. He really does.
Yeah.
which is awesome. So, Courtney, how did they get a hold of you?
How did
How do people get a hold of you if they see
how do
this?
people get a hold of him? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I live in Virginia.
yeah. So we're all over the internet the typical ways. SaberLightNights.com, all one word. You can find us there. I'm in the process of setting up some online training, so people will have access to that. Facebook, Saber Light Nights, Instagram, Saber Light Nights, and then you can also email us at saberlightnights@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Nick,
Yeah.
ask.
Okay, so like you can find Penguin Saber Academy, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Penguin Saber Academy. And you can email us, penguinsaberacademy@gmail.com. And totally Control-C, Control-V, Courtney's explanation.
Yeah, I like the way Courtney said we're across the internet in the typical ways. I'm gonna steal that line too. If you search for star-b- on your standard social media platforms, we've been in the dark for a while just because of the world. But other than that, I mean, you can still like get a hold of us. Like I still get messages kind of on my phone. So send us a message and really do me a favor and get down with your local Saber because they might not be meeting right now, but trust me, everybody wishes they could. So people want to know that there's still interest. You know what I mean? That people still want to train. So anyway.
Yeah,
We will have that tournament going as soon as all of this is over.
Absolutely.
You guys, I can't wait. I
Right.
can't wait for that.
yeah.
We might have to come up with some sort of like socially distanced potluck in the next, like before the summer's out, if we're able to, between our two states and everything, on this side of the country, because I don't know, we'll see. But I think we're at a point where we can put 36 plus 36, 72 inches of polycarbonate between us. So we're not that.
That's
we're
6
not
feet.
at that point yet.
Yeah, that's 6 feet. So.
Sounded very ironic.
Ryan, you're the
We'll get there, guys. We'll get there.
Ryan, you're the star of the show this week. do you want to add anything or tell anybody how to get a hold of you or anything like that?
No, I'll let Courtney take that side of it.
Okay.
All the organization and everything.
I didn't
Well,
know
thanks for taking us to your lovely field.
Yeah, this is great. I didn't know if you wanted to be like Nick and just go, fight me, find me and fight me.
Oh my God, please find me and fight me. Oh my God, please.
The other thing I would say is get out and practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yard, and that's what we're doing.
There we go.
Especially when you have a
Our
backyard
once
like
there, we
this.
didn't have anything, and it was really, really bad. So this is a very good hour for me because I basically too old to play lacrosse anymore. I can't keep up with 20-year-olds, but I can still see them.
Right.
You can hit them.
Yeah, great stress relief.
Right. You can reach us at sabermartialarts.life and Phoenix Saber Academy if you're in that area as well, or phoenixsaber.com for us. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. We'll continue to do more of these. Ryan, if you want to keep sending me stuff, I'll definitely try to put something together, and we'll do this again. And maybe we'll get Clay and Adam next time too.
Nice.
See their reaction to stuff, their commentary.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Right.
Thank you.